Yeah, yeah. Why do I do that? Why don't I just get everything straightened up first and then turn it on? This is Ron, and I wanted to come online because I found that, well, I didn't find anything, but the numbers today were kind of interesting looking. Yeah, the 2, and then 2, 4, and then 2, 2, 4. There's the 0 in there, and there's a 0 in there. That's the unknowable. That's the impossible. And so within this expression of 224, 224, we can see that there's a 44, 44, as there is an 88, which is a 7. It's internal. Now, in my previous calculations, it would be 2 times, and then a 2 time in thief, because the 10, places itself upon the day, the 24. So there's a thief upon a man, as there would be 2 fours, 2 doors, as it would be the 6. Yeah, as money too, 2 doors. Yeah, there's 2 aspects to everything. 2 aspects. Sorry, my voice is kind of weird today. And if I have any tea. Just a little smidgen was left, but that's enough for a swallow. But the interesting fact is that the door, the 4 as a door, is a gate, as it is foundation. It's something that's built up. It's built up. So when I see 4, 4, 4, 4, as much as I'd like to stack them up like a tower, and I see the tower as 3, not 4. Yeah, because there's the creation aspect of the petite mort. Yeah. So I see this expression as saying doors and rumors of doors. Rumors. And there's more room for the doors. There's doors and doors and doors and doors. And so it's the same thing as wars and rumors of wars. And so you can expect a 2-timing thief upon the day, presenting as a man but is two-faced in its own way, in its own expression, is going to present to you a war that needs to be fought, or a door that needs to be opened, as if he needs to sell it off. But ultimately it's the 7 which is internal, so well, the angle is an angel, and there are 7 churches, which 7 angels over those churches. It would definitely be angelic in its own right. But who's to say those aren't fallen angels or angles? Turn the angle around and you see the 7. Yes, you see the L. So it's internalized. It is. So if there's a 2-timing thief upon the day, it's within. In this capacity. As it's all just rumor. It's rumor. That's what it is. It's all rumor. Rumor. There's and then the 2, 4. So if you want 2 for 1, 2 for the price of 1. So it's a sale. Well, you would know this if you ever shopped at Kmart or whatever, if Kmart even exists anymore. The blue light special. It's a blue light special, girl. I'm quite blind today, so if I'm looking at the screen, I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm just kind of guessing where everything is. It's all just haze to me. Oh, I can see the kitty back there. Right there. Right there. The door's open so he can talk to the ones outside. And he's being very, very rambunctious. He attacks. I don't know what I did to raise him to become this, but I think it's just natural. Oh, and by the way, guess who's back? I saw him yesterday. I gave him a big hug and kiss. Maxwell. So Maxwell was something happened where someone dumped something, some kind of liquid, all over him. It was oily based, and it just hardened like rock all over him. So someone viciously attacked him, and I said, Jeff, we can't just leave him like this, and we have to go out and get shampoos. I don't know how to wash the cat. I don't know what to do. And I said, it's time. He's got to go to the shelter. They'll wash him. They'll shave off the big chunks, and they'll get him all purdied up, and they'll neuter him, and there'll be no more babies from him. And it'll be a healthy expression for the population. Yeah, given he's the daddy of everybody in the neighborhood. Get him to the shelter and he'll be adopted. So all this time I've been thinking that he's being prepared for adoption, and that someone's going to love him, and he's going to be like living the high life, and have his own couch and his own friends. Well, I'm out there in the front yard, and I look over, and it's like deja vu. He's walking by. I said, Maxwell. And he didn't want to talk to me at first, so I ran up to him and gave him a hug and kiss, and he responded. And they shaved him. And I could see why, I guess he's not eligible for adoption, because it would take too long for his hair to grow back. People freak out on that. Oh, look at his chunky hair. Well, really, long hairs shouldn't be outside. They should be kept inside. They're bred to be special. So Maxwell's back. So I tried to feed him. He wasn't interested, and he was cleaning his business. He's got his ear clipped, because that's what they do. They cut the tip of the ear off. So visually you can see that he's just a feral cat, and he's neutered, or spayed, because they do females, males. I figured they would do one ear or the other so they can identify if it's a male or female. Next thing I know, I hear screaming going across the wall, and he's out there having fun with the female cat that he had fun with before, that made the $1,000 kitten, and he's over there doing the thing. And I said, oh honey, you're going to be sore tomorrow, because there's no bullets, there's no live rounds going on, but after surgery and everything, losing that sort of thing, that little guy's going to be sore. So I haven't seen him today, but I hope he rests. I know he's full of hormones still. It's going to take like 6 weeks or so for those hormones to work themselves out of his body. So he still has all his hormones that he was given. He just doesn't have any live rounds. Poor babies. But I'm glad he's back. Yeah, he's so sweet. And he's got the whole yard. He's got this little box. He's got the garage. He gets fed. Just don't go outside the wall, and that's where the trouble starts, going out there in the world. He saw someone. See, hear him? He's talking. You're gonna tell. You're gonna tell them. You tell them. It's your yard. It's cute. Yeah, he's finally discovering what cats are. There's cats out there. So how interesting. So I guess we can say this, because it is a vlog. I don't want to drag on misery to anyone, or my malady, or my problems. This is just an expression of when you tell people your problems, or the things that you're going through. There's a motion of empathy that carries through in prayer. It's just a natural thing. You're not saying, "Oh, our Father who art in heaven," and then pray. No, just feeling. That's a prayer. Just feeling, having a real, true feeling towards someone, and in hopes that they get better, in hopes that things start working out for them. And yeah, it works. It can work. It's a true belief. It's a belief. And it works. And so anyways, in that expression, I don't mean to be the one that's like the old man that tells you all his problems. Yeah. Even though what I'm going to go through, I need someone as an outlet to talk about it. Doesn't seem that Jeff wants to really talk about it, even though I've been telling him, oh, this really hurt today, and this is what happened today. So that he knows, and I told him, you have to be a witness to what's happening, because when it's ultimately hitting me, I'm not going to be able to express it. I don't know, handle it, whatever. So I have shortness of breath, so I can only go do something for a limited time before I'm totally out of it. And it's not just out of it. It's like right now, I get this, it's a crunch inside of my chest. It wants to grip my heart. Makes me lose my breath. I can breathe, but it's when my heart gets gripped by, I guess, all that inner tissue, all that tightness. So I went outside, and of course I saw Maxwell, so that was sweet. I gave him a hug and kiss. But I sprinkled some seeds, and then I started watering, and I started picking weeds, and I took my little tin pail, the pale horseman, the man with the pail, the pale horseman. I took my bucket with a handle, a pail, and I started going along the front bed, which is, just mostly that ice plant and stuff out there. But there's mustard weeds coming up. So I'm popping them and pulling them and putting them in the bucket. And I finally finished one full bucket. I dumped it in the garbage. I walked back out there. I made it to the very corner where the stop sign is. And there's a lot of mustard. And I was just hand plucking. And I'm plucking. And you could see it. I could see myself moving along. And it's really clearing out the whole corner. And suddenly I got to the very last portion of the corner. And I'm plucking it, and then boom, it hit me. Oh, and it's like a heart attack, but it's not a heart attack. It's gripping. I consider it feels just like atrial fibrillation, where your heart just and not in a good rhythm. And this is my heart rate. My heart rate shoots through the roof, and it just starts fluttering. It feels like a flock of birds flying out of a cage door all at once, like pigeons flying out of the coop through my chest. And I don't want to say it tickles. It's like such an extreme feeling. It runs down straight through my core and my belly, and then I lose my breath, and I have to start really panting and breathing deeply and trying to relax. And doctors call this anxiety. Yeah. This tachycardia thing. It's not the heart. It's like all the muscles around the heart are gripping it, and then the heart starts beating against it, making it beat faster, and then slower, and then faster, and then slower. And it's like a flutter. It's the only way I can describe it. Unless it's nerves, I don't know, firing off in sequence like that. So at that point, I know that I have very limited amount of energy to get to point A to point B. I'm in the farthest part of the yard, the stop sign. So I cleaned up what I was doing, tried to focus, just breathe naturally. Took my bucket and walked casually down the sidewalk, up the driveway, opened the garage door, went inside, dumped my stuff, shut the garage door, locked it up, went inside, and sat down here and had an episode. I mean, it was a continuous thing, but to relax. And it's not anxiety. I have nothing is more rewarding for me, and I've told this many times before, that every spring I pluck weeds. That's what I do. I spend all my time. It's therapy. I'm just pluck, and I'll focus on one weed at a time. So I go after specific species, and then move to the next, whether it be the rye, between the rye and the mustard, or the broad greens, whatever coming up, the broadleaf. I just go after it. and I fill up buckets of it, and I get it out of my yard. And then I don't have to deal with it all summer like these other people who mow it over when it's growing, leaving a little bit of green from the distance. It looks like your yard is green, only to have it all grow back up again because it's from the root base. You have to pop the root. So, anyways, I pop the root. So it's terrible. I don't know how to stop these episodes from happening. And I listen to testimonies, and it seems that that's what doctors consider it. Oh, anxiety. And if you have anxiety, well then there you go. There's your reason. That's your problem. And no, what's going on in my body is the problem, and that's just the sidekick. That's the sidekick. That's the fun. That's the roller coaster, honey. That's the ride. That's part of the ride. And so it's very frustrating. I don't know. I'm sure that they have some sort of drug to stop something like this. I don't know. It's not mental. No, I had no triggers whatsoever. They asked me that when the EMS was here the other day for the same thing. Did the medication pamphlet trigger you? No, it did not. That was the day before. I read the pamphlet the day before. The knowledge was in my head. I wasn't thinking on it. So if it's that internalized, that everything you face is going to be hidden within to be anxiety or whatever, manic depression, whatever they want to place it as, just the way they behave would cause anxiety, that's for certain. Lying to the patient, misdirecting the patient, and then the society itself, not society, I'm sorry, it's not society. Corporations dictate upon us through GMO use, through chemtrail use, through toxicity, through levels of toxicity, raising the bar so that we're taking in more. And then, of course, the conditioning factor of the person who either accepts or utilizes such products upon society. Yeah, because I'm serious. What I'm going through is environmental. Yeah. I should not be going through this. And the secret would be to take me and pluck me out of the environment and put me in a new environment, like you would. You would want to do that in the garden. Take the good plants, and pluck them out and put them where you want them, but the bad plants, pluck them out and get rid of them. Well, that's what happens. That's what's going to happen. Wow, he's a singing. Bow, 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 bow. Must be a girl out there or something. Oh, should I peek? Sorry. Hold on. At any rate, that's my problem. And I'm calm now, a little hyper right now, but probably from smoking a little marijuana, but having a good night's rest. I haven't eaten anything. I had 2 cups of tea, so that's a little bit of honey. And but yesterday I'm trying to get some seeds planted, and I even got my species gladiolas planted in a pot, because that's part of it too. Not only did I do that simple job, and then totally it wasted me, which is so silly, because I have 100,000 of those little jobs that need to be done constantly. And if I do them in the spring as I can, as the warm days are, and we're about ready to be hit with another push down with the Arctic, so it's going to get cold again. So all this is just kind of an illusion. This 80-degree business is an illusion, and it's shocking to the little seedlings. And there's buds all over the fruit trees, that sort of thing. That's how it is here. But I also took the time to walk down the street, which is about a block down the street, to the hardware store, and I was going to get some bone meal, and for doing the bulbs. They didn't have any, so I went next door to Dr. Green's, which he does aquaponics, things like that. He has a lot of product. But I asked him, and sure enough, he had bone meal. He had everything. He had blood meal, he had this meal, he had that meal, he had a whole bunch of meals. Because it's very organic. So I got some bone meal, and I got those species glads planted in a pot. So hopefully they'll bloom this year. They'll be stimulated to get nice and good growth. And yeah, they didn't do so well on the ground. But we have wireworm, we have all kinds of problems, and then of course, whatever spraying is going on next door, at the apartment complex. Yeah, the constant spraying of glyphosate. So now I don't think it's GMO food, because I shouldn't be taking any of that in. I'm pretty careful with that. Now I'm sure something could get slipped into the pastas, because I don't make my own pasta. My mom used to make her own pasta. At least she did for a short time to learn how to do it. It's easier to just buy a package of pasta than to make your own. Unless you're really into that and have fun. But I would rather be out in the garden than in the kitchen. As much as I enjoy doing the things in the kitchen, the reward is too quick. You know, you can spend 45 minutes to an hour, maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours cooking, baking, doing sauces, putting it all together. It's a beautiful display. It's perfect in all ways, you know, taste, experience. But it takes 5 minutes to eat it. It's gone. And then it's dishes, and then it's over, and then it's just the relishing of how wonderful that was. But that's not the same kind of effect that I get from doing something in the garden and seeing the reward later. The growth, the flowers, the destruction around here. I wish it wasn't so destructive. I really don't. No. Now, good news on my big Mr. Lincoln rose, where I cut him and he had bollworm, and then I put the latex on the ends and treated him, and he has just three little branches that grew out of this huge bush. It was so sad I shouldn't have cut him. But he had the bollworm anyways, he was going to fail. But now there's these new shoots coming up from the base, so these basil breaks are coming out from the roots. So keep my fingers crossed that Mr. Lincoln comes back to life. Although I asked Jeff yesterday, I said, when did all this crap start? And he goes, what crap? And I said, the fake world. When did our fake world begin? When did we lose America? And he goes, Lincoln. He said, that was a total fucking coup. He said, that man should have been hung for what he did to the nation. You don't go to war against yourself. It's against the Declaration. There are enemies within, and that's what it was. That's what he was. Yet, look at our mindset. We're so venerated to know, oh, he freed the slaves. He did no such thing. The truth was all about the cotton and the money and taxes and what they wanted to deem their own, just like they do now. When did we start? When did we lose America? And so I guess it was Lincoln. the Lincoln Inn. The link to all of this. May it begin. And now look at it. Now look at the ridiculousness. Asylum seekers. Ain't no fucking asylum seekers. Bad mouth. Wash my mouth. No, these are criminals. They're criminals. Criminals in high places. Criminals in low places. Criminals in high places giving money to criminals in low places. Don't let them in. And if they're there, get them out. Yeah. Get them out. It's a terrible, terrible thing. You know, all the bad has to happen. You know, just like when we read in Isaiah 58 or 57:1 that the righteous are taken away and the merciful are missing, and no one takes heed to why. other than the fact that it's true. They're missing because they're taken away because of the evil that comes. So today has a real good expression of that, you know. 2 are in the field, 2 are in the millstone, 2 are in bed. 1 is taken, 1 is left behind. It's because it's in such a pairing to see the 2-2-4, 2-2-4. Yeah, 2-4. So what is 2-4? As it is but 1. Yeah. Meow, meow, meow. Here comes the train. Don't really need to hear it, huh? Isn't it weird how many people who do vlogging on YouTube have trains next to them? They live near trains. Yeah. And what was the purpose from the beginning? To have the train sound off so that people don't get hit, things like that. But why didn't they just make the train crossings actual bridges so that you never have to interfere with the train? Never stops you. Yeah, I don't know why. I guess it's infrastructure they'd have to take care of. I don't know. Seems like we should be more advanced with that, especially with, you know, from coming from the Freemasonry and looking at all those old buildings, which a lot of people consider as Tatarian, but, you know, from the 1800s that went through what they consider the mud flood, which I believe it was. It was an expression that no one knows the truth about. But we don't build buildings properly. And we don't quarry anymore. No, we don't make things out of stone. No, it's all cheap, flammable materials, isn't it? Yeah. Except for the blue products. I don't know what about that. Phenomena. Sure. What else can it be? So today is the number 7 day. It's internal. It's perfection, really. A perfectionist is within. You know, the student-teacher relationship, that which you know, that which you learned, and then stepping out in the world, being the teacher rather than the student, rather than absorbing the world and all the information. Come out and start teaching what you've already known, what you've already been. Yeah, it's the greatest relationship you have. Now, within allows you to see, and that's like me with my body within me. Yeah, my concerns. And now I have to wait till March 1st, you know, and what do I see the doctor about all my other little problems? She never addressed a single thing. I gave her a list of 3 things that are wrong with me specifically right now. She cannot address them. She won't address them because she knows that it's not the problem. That's weird. That's weird. So, have a good day. Maybe I'll, sorry. Maybe I'll go out and walk the yard again, but this time I'll I'll clean the lens. Yeah, I'll clean the lens. So, and you know, I don't really want to talk about the X right now. You know, the whole factor of the eclipse. Not really. Because I think it has a lot to do with our DNA, our expressions. You know, I can look at all of my symptoms as something like an ascension process. These are all the symptoms of ascension. You're going to become an angel. Well, yeah, if I don't get it taken care of, I'll be in the grave. And whatever, wherever you want to take fantasy. So, and that's the angle, really, that I should be thinking about today. But maybe today I walk outside, because it's still nice out. It's gonna that crunch of Arctic is gonna come down. It's gonna take about 2 days. I was looking at the forecast and it said by Thursday it would drop down to like 27 as our low. It's like, oh, yucko. That's winter. That might as well just be winter. And I don't like that. It's over. I'm over it. Push it north. Push it eastwardly, northward. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it comes right to the edge and then it leaves us. We're right on the edge line. But the way they showed it wants to go down into Texas. Push. Right across New Mexico. So it's like, ew. And so it might be our snow. We might get snow. I don't think they didn't say anything about precipitation. Just cold. Tornadoes along where it meets the band of hot or warm and cold, where it meets, as it pushes, goes into the Midwest, and that's where you get the tornadoes. So that's their biggest concern, is that it's going to be a big tornado rush. And it could be pretty severe, but we don't get that. I mean, we usually get our spring winds, which haven't really started yet. Sometimes they can last, once they start, they can last. One time the spring winds started in sometime around March. Yeah, it was about March one year. I think it was in 2015. And it went all the way from March, and it was June 15 when the last day the wind blew. And I realized on June 15th that the wind stopped, 6:15. I was like, oh my God, so it's 3 months of March winds, of our winds, our spring winds. And it finally, when it ended, it was like, it was like a headache that finally went away. It's like, And I hate that. But then we get such good weather in between the bad weather that we forget. We forget how bad it is. We forget the dust, and we forget the nastiness and the neighbors. And then, because it's so beautiful, again, for a short time, and then boom, we forget. But we can't really complain about winters. We can't, not compared to other people. That's just horrible. And then, just watching whatever news clips come up on the feed, the horrible nature of people and the violence that they are against one another. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just ridiculous. That's the X. That's the Dan. That's the DNA. That's the violent man. It's the mixed race DNA. See, it's spelled in the zebra as it is expressing itself. See? But the zebra, the black and white stripes, the most violent animal in Africa. Yep, you don't make pets out of that. You can make a pet out of everything else, but you can't make a pet out of a zebra. Forget it. So that's what's coming up. I tried to express that on someone's channel, but everybody took offense. Dan, they hear the word Dan, they think, well, my name's Daniel, and I'm forget it. Good Lord, if you don't know who Daniel is, then if that's what you're going by, I don't know any Dans. Anybody going? Oh, there's Barbara and Dan. God's Healer 7. Now, if he heard me talking about the tribe of Dan, do you think he would relate himself to Dan? No. I don't know. I haven't tuned into them in a long time. You'd think they'd be raptured by now. It's been going on a long time. Yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of rapturing going on. Yeah, pretty soon. I still, I see the fowls of heaven, and they're in truth, as they are written about, that they would be the raptors, as they are the Anunnaki, as they are the Anasazi, as this has been a never-ending story. That you don't tell the chicken what's for lunch. Don't tell the chicken what's for lunch, honey. It's not good. It's not right. So, and then the illness factor of what we're looking at, and the inoculations that we do to the flesh before consumption, that they would too, through them. Yeah. As there's nothing new under the sun, it's just a repeated process. We're just seeing this repeated process, which is just the grossest negligent. And everything is in consumption. Everything has to eat to live. But wherever they come from, well, they exploited their inheritance too, as they came here long ago, manipulated Yeah, that we should be made in their image. And given all of the avenues of harvesting for them. You know, digging all the gold and all the gold and all the whatever, jewels, diamonds, whatever they want to do. And they're going to have to give it over to their masters anyways in the end. Yeah. You really want to get out there and play, huh? Poor thing. What do, you know? When you're the only cat in existence and then you discover there's cats outside? Yeah, I wouldn't dare let him out there. It's a wicked, vicious world. One dog, he wouldn't know to be afraid of dogs. He's not afraid of these dogs. And he's too young. He's too young. Now it's too late. You know? Maybe if we lived in the country, but even then it'd be a risk with wild animals. And I don't know how to give him wisdom. I'm trying to teach him wisdom about the stove, about hot things. I'm not too bright with that. I don't want him to step on anything that's hot. So I have to be really careful. Most definitely. Maybe one day he'll have a friend. Yeah, he can have a beat-up buddy. A beat-up buddy instead of me. Okay, I feel better. Just being able to talk. That's the whole process. Just being able to talk, just to express itself. You know, how I say something, especially in type, if it's offending you, just shut your eyes. My God. Don't go on the defensive when it isn't about you. Don't do it. No, if it's about you, I'll tell you. Certainly. So, but I do appreciate the listener. I do. And yeah, there are people blocked. You have to block some people. You have to, because you can't get through to them. And they'll say, no, I don't care. I don't care, I tried, I shut it down, I said enough, stop. I can get very, very angry and very, very mean. If I allow the agitation to carry through, they won't stop, so you just block. I listen to someone that's contending with someone that won't listen to them about God, because they're God. And they won't stop, and they're God. It's like, well, that's funny, isn't it? So I said, you gotta block them. God blocks you. That's how it works. God's gonna block you. Well, you gotta block too. Yeah. But anyways. Take care. Bye.